I'm Dan Chikrochi, Content Marketing Manager for Beyond Type 1, and I'm joined by Kylie Luckett. Kylie lives with type 1 diabetes and uses the MiniMed 780G automated insulin delivery system by Medtronic. Kylie is going to discuss how the 780G AID system works for her and explore the mental health benefits of using an AID system. Kylie, thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I love any opportunity to talk about automated insulin delivery and the Medtronic 780G, and especially as a social worker, the benefits to my personal mental health that it's had.
Awesome. So most people with diabetes, they know what they know what insulin is, and they know what insulin pumps are at this point. And many people are starting to get an understanding of what a CGM is. So that said, what are we talking about when we mention an automated insulin delivery system?
Yeah, so an automated insulin delivery system is a partnership. So it's how we bring, the insulin pump and the CGM together to communicate and make choices. And so based on the CGM readings and an algorithm that I am not smart enough to understand, they communicate and it will automatically adjust the insulin that you're receiving based on lots of different factors.
Mm-hmm. And are you wearing an automated insulin delivery system right now?
I am, yep. So you can see my CGM is here on the back of my arm. This is the Guardian 4 sensor, and then the Medtronic 780G, and I could show you here. It's sitting great at 87 right now, which is really cool because for this afternoon, I just ate a piece of cake a couple of hours ago, and, we're sitting still in range and in a good place because the CGM has talked with the insulin pump to give a little more insulin and then give a little less.
Yeah. So you said you had a little bit of cake there. So I want to kind of speak to AIDs like the 780G and how they're different. Let's say you had that cake and you accidentally forgot to bolus. Would you go high overnight?
Um, you would definitely start to raise because that is what carbs, glucose does to each and every one of us. Even the non-type 1 diabetics, your blood sugar is going to start to raise. But as my blood sugar would start to raise, the missed meal detection would kick in and it would see that I'm getting my blood sugar is raising and I don't have any insulin on board. So while I might go over my ideal range, which is 180, I'm not going to be there for long and it'll bring me back down. So while it's still very important to bolus, for an example, several weeks ago, I was really busy with work. We were having a pizza party. I had pizza, then I was cleaning it up and doing all these things. Realized maybe 45 minutes late, an hour later, I forgot to bolus. And pizza is one of those things that people will be like, I'm 300 for days.
Yeah.
I only went up to like 200 and I was back down under 180 in less than 30 minutes. And so from not bolusing because it was able to kick in and start working. So it is important to bolus. I always make sure to say that you can't just not bolus and hope things will go okay. But I'm able to have really great time in range because of the automated insulin delivery.
So you touched upon the meal detection technology, which is really it's really kind of a signature feature of the 780G. What are some other bells and whistles that you like about the 780G?
The 780G, specifically with the Guardian 4 sensor, there are 0 calibrations that are required after you insert it. And after your like 2-hour warm-up period, you're in it, you're there. And so as a person who is pretty busy and kind of forgetful at times, I used to only start a sensor in the morning because it has 2 hours and then it has a 6-hour period. But not having that, if my sensor expires, I can change it at 8 o'clock at night and it's not going to be waking me up in the middle of the night. Or if it falls off, or if I hit a door jam too hard and it comes off, I don't have to be like, oh, well, I'll go without a sensor tonight because it's late. Um, that's really helpful. And I really like when I talk about it, I call it my safety net because, I think I'm eating about this much or I'm snacking or whatever, and I can give it information and then it has me. So it's going to stop me from going super low. It's going to stop me from going super high. And I think sometimes you don't realize all the decisions you're making with diabetes until some of them are taken away. I've been a type 1 diabetic for 28 years now, on insulin pump therapy for a lot of those years since like 2003, I believe. And so I've seen how technology has really changed over the years.
What type of compatibility does the MiniMed 780G have with a smartphone? Is there an app of some kind that you have to use?
You don't necessarily have to use it. I know some like CGMs, you have to have the phone close by for it to work. But there is a app which is pretty cool on your phone so you can see it. One of the things I really love is there's also like the partner app. So my husband has it on his phone, so he'll get an alert when I'm low or high. I was traveling recently and my sugar was low, and he's like, "Hey, your sugar's low," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get to it." Um, I'm taking care of it, or I'm treating, and so, or if I wake up in the night, my sugar's starting to trend up, he'll like wake me up and he's like, "Hey, you may want to check your set because you're going high for kind of no reason," which is really nice. Gives him peace of mind that like he knows what's going on, and it's also like peace of mind for me to have. Um, and it's also great because you can see, having a really good day here, you can see your time and range. Also, the watch app. So I can see, oop, I gotta do it the other way. See my, you may not be able to see it when it's like that. See my readings on my watch. So as a person who is in a lot of meetings, it's nice just to be able to like peek down, see what my sugar is at, and continue on.
I want to talk a little bit about mental health and diabetes, and I want to get your perspective on what the psychological aspect of living with diabetes is like. I mean, it's been 20 plus years, you said, since you were diagnosed. I was wondering if you could take us back to the beginning and then those early years and just discuss what your mental health was like.
So I got diagnosed in 1996 when I was in the second grade. So I don't know that I was yet very aware of my mental health and what was going on. I remember kind of more of the social aspects that changed that then ultimately did have an effect on my mental health. Having friends who didn't want me to spend the night anymore because their parents were worried about trying to take care of my diabetes. And so then feeling like ostracized and left out and different and other, and, you know, why can't I just have this cake? Why can't I just do those things? As I got older, I definitely rebelled. I was not taking care of myself. I was not taking insulin the way I needed to. I was not testing. I was lying about things, lying to my doctors, lying to my parents because it was overwhelming. And I was in college and I just wanted to be in college and not have to constantly worry about this part of my life. Um, and then, the thing that really turned the tides for me was finding Medtronic. I hadn't been on Medtronic until 2017. And it really was the thing that made a difference for me. Things really clicked, the system really worked. And not until I got on the 780G last year did I realize how tired I was from constantly thinking about it. So it's one of those like you didn't even know you were sick until you got better because I'd gotten so used to it. I'd gotten used to checking my blood sugar, looking at my pump, giving insulin, wondering, am I going to eat this? Am I not going to eat this? And so once some of that went away, and it was a transition, letting go is a transition. Learning diabetes technology and like being like, nah, I'm gonna trust you. Like I'm not just gonna be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna override this. I'm gonna trust it and go with the flow is hard. But once I was able to do that, it's so much better.
So you talk about, taking away having to constantly think about your diabetes, which is huge, obviously.
Mhm.
What are some other ways that the evolution of technology like AIDs and the MiniMed 780G, what are some other ways that they've changed the daily work for you of living with diabetes?
So definitely for me, I was a person, if you're familiar with Dawn phenomenon or foot to floor syndrome, so it's no matter what you do, no matter you're gonna go high in the morning. I get out of bed and my sugar goes up. I don't have to eat, I don't have to do anything. And that was really just draining because starting your day elevated made everything a little worse. So being able to wake up and have my sugar right around 100 and feeling good and have it not skyrocket the moment I get out of bed is really nice. And then it's also just some of the break that you get when it comes to being on vacation. Well, I don't have to get up at a certain time to make sure I'm eating or getting insulin. I can sleep in, I can stay up late, I can eat, I can do all of the different things to really live life and thrive um, with diabetes.
So you're a teacher, right?
I'm a social worker. I'm the director for mental health and social emotional learning for a school district.
But you work with students.
Yep.
So that means you have to be on your game all day long with these students. Um, before going on the MiniMed 780G, what was that like working as a social worker, working with students, and how has that specifically changed since you transitioned to the 780G?
I mean, that's definitely a big thing. There were times where my principal would be like, your blood sugar is low. Like, you need to sit and eat. You need to stop. You need to do this. And working with kids, especially kids in crisis, they don't really care that your sugar is low or you haven't eaten or your sugar is high. Like, you have to be there. You have to be present with them. And so I definitely think I put my own health on the back burner because I care about my students so much. And with the 780G, it's got me so then I can take better care of my students. And one of the things that I like, so the Guardian 4 sensor, the only approved location is the back of the arm. I never used to wear sensors on the back of my arm. And now that I do, I realize just how many other like students and people will see them and be like, hey, I have diabetes too. And like you get to make that connection, or maybe my mom does, or my dad, or I know what that is. And it's been really great to like be seen by other diabetics and like also show them like, yeah, we're all out here, which I don't feel like I had as a child. Diabetes was still thought of as that thing that old people have or just people that were overweight. And so I remember distinctly going to like a diabetes swim class and I was so excited. Everyone was 60 or older in that swim class with me as a fifth grader that was like, oh, I'm gonna go to swim class. No, it was not the right scene. So having, other diabetics see that we're all here, we're all around.
Finally, I just want to ask you, how is how is having an automated insulin delivery system like the MiniMed 780G, how has that changed your outlook on living with diabetes and day-to-day routines, and what hope does it give you for the future?
It gives me so much hope. And, you know, I know people are constantly talking about type 1 diabetes and needing a cure, and that would be lovely. Don't get me wrong. Cure would be great if there was one magic that like, okay, now it's just done. But this is pretty darn close, and so I feel extremely grateful.
Well, I'd like to thank Kylie Luckett for sharing these insights about automated insulin delivery systems and the MiniMed 780G. It's always remarkable to see how technology continues to enhance health management in people with diabetes, and we look forward to seeing the impact that this device will have on users' lives. And thank you to our viewers. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Dan Croce of Beyond Type 1. Stay tuned for more insightful and enlightening interviews with people like Kylie that will empower you to live the best possible life with diabetes. See you soon.